It was strange because as of a few weeks ago, I was actually talking with someone who had a large amount of 1970s mint sets. And I said, well, you know what? These don't particularly sell for a lot of money. They're very plentiful. And, I had told him, well, there is one redeeming quality. 1970s Jefferson nickels and Roosevelt dimes were notorious for being some of the weakest struck coins ever produced by the U.S. Mint. Especially the earlier dates. So you get into like 1970 was particularly bad. They carry over from the late 60s, where a lot of extremely rare and valuable sharp strike coins with particularly strong steps on Monticello on the reverse of the coin can actually bring you a really huge payday if you find the right coin, if it grades out, legit. But I was talking to this gentleman. I was actually going through my emails, and I had the pleasure of talking to him in person on the phone. A few weeks ago, he didn't quite understand the whole premise of what these coins meant in terms of collectability and desirability when it comes to grading. He didn't know what full steps meant, or how it could be just this little thing that could turn a coin that is traditionally worth about 50 cents into something that's worth $1,000. Okay, he did know about grading. He's very familiar with PCGS and NGC. Never really thought about joining either, because he had a lot of moderns that he had accumulated over the years, and some that were given to him by loved ones. And just over the weekend, it's funny because it's like, you talk about it, and then something later on down the line happens, and then it kind of like revisits, the overall memory of, a conversation or a learning lesson. But this 1974D sold on Great Collections on Sunday to the tune of $1,600. And it was everything that I had talked about to this collector. And it just goes to show you that coins of this decade, it's kind of like think of it as the transition. You had bad, horrible strikes up until about 73, 74, primarily with the Denver and San Francisco minted coins during that time. And then once you got into the later 70s, things really crispened up a little bit. So the later dated 1970s nickels or dimes weren't as sought after by registry set collectors, and therefore the price dictates that. But this is kind of like one of those coins that if you did come across it, the big question is, dare I send it off to grading? Because what one person's view, even though they're employed by a PCGS or NGC, compared to what your view is, can be completely far apart. All right, and what I mean by that is, you see full steps on the reverse of the coin, they see, maybe a nick or a line that kind of negates exactly what your thoughts are of your coin. Now, this coin is absolutely stunning, okay, and it graded out as 66 plus through PCGS with the full steps moniker on there. But the lesson in all of this is, if you were to accumulate a large kind of like compilation of really sharp strike coins without ever sending it to the graders, you could probably turn this around and sell it later on down the line as raw coins to a company like Heritage Auctions, or a David Lawrence, a few others out there that specialize in high grade stuff, and make a nice tidy sum. The 1970s nickels are starting to gain in popularity for that very exact reason. People are starting to buy BU rolls, especially, and mint sets. The mint sets that I've come across from the earlier dates, a lot of the coins exhibit absolutely stunning strikes. Okay, that'd be the first place I'd look. This would be kind of like an unreasonable type coin to find in pocket change. Although it may happen. You know, you may come across a small cache of them from someone that had taken apart all the mint sets, you know, from like someone else's collection that was inherited to them, and just went ahead and deposited them in the bank, and then now they end up in, you know, a roll or a bank bag that you pick up to do some coin roll hunting. It happens every day, you know. It's the least likely, but these are the type of coins that I love assembling raw and putting them in an album, because out of all the sets, whether it's modern or classic or, you know, any kind of like variation of the two, you could put together a really stunning high-grade set of Jefferson nickels, relatively inexpensive. Okay, there are a few stoppers at the higher grades. Now, if you call spending $100 on a mint state 65 1950D as a stopper, then, you know, it is what it is. Especially if you're the budget conscious and, you know, all that, which, you know, sometimes that can be. It really depends. But, you know, I wanted to bring to your attention the what I feel like is the next wave of cherry picking and treasure hunting in moderns. Okay, and 1970s nickels are definitely in the wheelhouse, much to the same kind of level as 1980s Roosevelt dimes, I would say, and 1990s and 1980s Washington quarters. They're kind of like all in the same kind of pot as the next wave of collectibles, even though there is no precious metal composition factored into any of this. But they are going to be the next hot item out there. It may not be today, may not be 5 years from now, but as the kind of the coin market does its own ebbs and tides and flows, you're going to see decade-specific series of coins just kind of take off. Okay, much to the same level as like 1983 brilliant uncirculated Washington quarters are selling raw for $50 or $60. This could be very well be one of them. But, you know, I just want to talk about 1970s Jefferson nickels, what they're all about, you know, kind of give you a little back history on them. And, you know, I love collecting these decades and assembling a whole bunch of them. Okay, there's nothing wrong with hoarding because they're still pretty inexpensive. Raw mint sets, you know, sell for like $5-6, and you get a bunch of other coins to go along with it, so it's kind of a really nice deal. But, you know, I want to thank you guys for joining in on this video. Sorry it's kind of wordy, you know. Some of you will say, oh, just get to the point, why don't you? But that is the point, you know. A little bit of dialogue in there and all that great stuff. Please like and subscribe. Okay, again, I appreciate your guys' time. You guys have a wonderful evening, and I'll keep you guys in my thoughts and prayers as I do the next video, and you guys will enjoy that, I'm hoping and I'm sure. And I'll see you guys later. Have a nice evening. Take care.